Hey guys, this is RolloutReviews with RolloutReviews, bringing you another Big Hero 6 toy review. This time it is the 4-inch scale Baymax. Now, this is the Disney Store exclusive version of this figure and has a slightly more premium paint job. It also has a slightly different packaging, but the packaging is exactly the same on all of these Disney Store releases. If you want to see what that looks like, either do a Google search or check out my Hero Hamada review. Anyway, let's see what this figure has to offer. Firstly, the scale of this figure is alright. I think the Armor Up Baymax had a great size going for it in the Nurse Bot form, but when you attached the armor, it became way too big compared to Hero. Unfortunately, this guy, I think, is just a little bit small compared to Hero. Maybe like a 6-inch or a 5.5-inch figure, I think would be absolutely perfect. But until we get that, I think this is your best bet. He's gonna look okay with the rest of the 6, but not perfect by any means. This figure is alright looking, just standing there at least. The premium paint job is extremely subtle on this guy. It's just sort of a slight sparkle to the red plastic, just like the finish on the Disney Store exclusive of the Armor Up Baymax and the compact form here that came with Hero. I don't think it's really worth going out and getting the Disney Store exclusive version. I think the normal release would be just fine. The details are all right. They're a bit simplified, nothing too special. There's a couple blemishes here and there. The head, unfortunately, on mine is a little bit crooked. I guess that adds a little bit of character because it's only a swivel. It's no ball joint or anything, unfortunately. So just that extra little tilt, I don't know, gives him something a little bit more, but that is a quality control defect. That just so happens to turn out for the better, honestly. Articulation on this guy is super disappointing. First of all, if we come back here, the wings can extend and collapse. They actually come detached in the packaging. They're a very rubbery plastic here, so that, you know, that's not going to be sharp or anything. They plug on, and you can have them fly around and whatnot. Do whatever you will with your Baymax. The arms are a much improved feature over the Armor Up Baymax. I mean, you got much more joints in here. The shoulder armor is on a ball joint. It rotates. It has a little bit of movement here and there. I find it actually doesn't help all that much. Just sitting in one position, it stays in one place and doesn't really have to move out of the way all that much for anything, but the thought is nice, I suppose. The arms go in and out, but only in about this far, unfortunately. They go all the way around, so that won't be too much of a problem. He's got an elbow joint, but it only goes this far. It's better than the Armor Up version just due to the nature of how that toy works, but I would have hoped for something maybe just a bit further than that. There's also no rotation on the upper arm, and that is something I think this figure really needs, but doesn't have. He does have a cut here at the gauntlet, though, so that's nice. It would have been cool if this maybe popped off so you could get his rocket punch going. I feel like you actually could pop this joint off. The plastic is pretty soft there, but I feel like if I pulled too hard, it would break it, so I'm not going to try that. The arms, like I said, are much improved. You can get a lot out of it, but unfortunately, you can't get too much out of it. Like, you can't get his hands on his hips or anything. You can't have him in kind of some poses that I really want to get him into, but it's more than nothing, so that's okay. He has no waist joint, and again, I feel that this is a missed opportunity. There's so much room there that they could have fit some kind of swivel, and that would add so much more character to this guy, but it's just not there, unfortunately. The legs are the most disappointing part about this figure, and I really feel will kill it for some people. Some collectors are probably going to want to pass on this just because of this fact. Now, the Armor Up Baymax couldn't have a whole lot of articulation in the legs. It really couldn't have any articulation in the legs because of like I said, the nature of how the toy works. Two pieces of a shell connecting together. That doesn't promote a whole lot of jointage. But there's really no excuse here, and I was really looking forward to having a more articulated Baymax at this scale so that I could have one for display and one for play. But this is kind of terrible, and I really question why they decided to design it like this, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So these are one solid piece. There's no knee joint or anything at all. There's a knee joint molded in there, like it looks like the mechanical knee inside there, but it doesn't actually bend. This is one solid piece. It's kind of rubbery plastic, and that's disappointing. But the way it attaches at the hips makes even less sense. So it's a piece here, and then a ball joint that sticks up, and then a socket right here. So you can get it in and out a little bit, but forward and back is limited to just that. Why? Why would that? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why they would design it like that. I guess maybe they were limited to budget restraints. This guy probably has the most plastic out of any of the 4-inch scale figures, but still, like, it's just, I don't know. It's so disappointing. Really, like, all you can do is maybe bring this forward and this back and get him in some kind of stance, but he's hard to stand anyway, so that doesn't seem like a good idea. At the start of this video, I had him up on a Tamashii stage here, up on a stand that isn't included with this figure, but, you know, you can kind of wedge it underneath his armor here and get him airborne, but that's really your only option. So it really is a put-off for somebody like me, a collector. I don't think kids will have too much of a problem with it, though. They just want a Baymax to fly around, and this being the cheaper alternative, parents might want to get this. I feel like this is completely adequate for the target audience, but for a collector, it's just a little bit disappointing. I think if you just want to have this on your shelf, you might just want to get the Armor Up Baymax and maybe wait for a later release that has a bit more articulation. It's also worth having if you want to have Baymax in, well, most of his forms in the movie. I mean, you can have the Armor Up Baymax in the balloon Nurse-Bot form, you can have this compact form from the hero figure, and then you can have this representing him all armed up and ready for battle. The only one missing is sort of the prototype armor he has in gray, but, you know, I suspect this movie is going to be pretty popular. It already has kind of a following on the internet, so chances are that could get a release at some point in the future, and that would surely be cool. I also really hope that, well, Baymax gets what he deserves, a better, more articulate figure, and this, for me, just doesn't cut it. But once again, I'll let you decide. Depending on who you are, depending on what kind of consumer you are, this might look pretty cool. You might want to get it. And that's really all I can say. It's all up to subjection. So that is about it, guys, and this is IX RolloutIX signing off.